Welcome to Lead with Heart, a space for visionary leaders ready to live their soul's purpose and embody heart-led leadership in your life and business. I'm Jewel, a spiritual mentor guiding leaders to create impact through authentic and aligned purpose work. Here, we activate inner wealth, expand coherence, create a future rooted in truth, and reconnect to our true nature to reattune our lives to Earth's original intelligence and rhythm. As we kick off this season, I'll also be unveiling the living heart keys, unlocking the diamond within, one frequency at a time. The future of leadership is through the heart, and we begin right here. So let's dive in. Welcome back to Lead with Heart. I am very excited for this episode number 2 in season 3. And this season is dedicated to deep diving into the heart keys. And if you haven't listened to episode number 1, where I talked about what heart keys are as living intelligence, as words of power that are living, breathing entities, the evolution of heart keys that have come through me, through my life field in the last several years, have become a sacred technology for leading ourselves, leading our families, leading our clients, leading our communities from the heart. And working with heart keys is truly a living practice. They walk with you, they breathe with you, they guide you. And when you work with a heart key, you're not doing heart key work, you're actually inviting life to speak to you in real time through the lens of these heart keys. What I've found is that there's a lot of conversation about raising our frequency, but what does that really mean? What I am discovering through these heart keys are the true essences of these frequencies. Each heart key holds a very specific, a very pristine, a very aligned frequency attuned to the heart. And so if you're ready to create a new baseline frequency that matches your deepest desire, you're going to really like this season. Many of us have been and are striving and desiring and saying we want more. We want more love. We want more peace. We want more ease. We want more impact. We want more money. We want more fulfillment. Yet at the same time, there's a resisting there. I believe that the reason is because in order to receive, we must surrender. I am starting this season 3 with the first heart key being the heart key of surrender as a foundational key that opens you up to receiving. Because in order to fully receive, we truly have to lay down the walls of self-protection, and we have to soften our grip on the old paradigms of control. I know I've had to, and I continue to soften and soften and soften some more and open my cells and open my heart and breathe and be touched by life in a way that I allow the divine intelligence that I am to move through me. I truly believe that this is a threshold of leadership in the times that we're living right now, to truly lead from the heart, from openness, and to serve from receiving, and have giving and receiving be a natural state of energy and motion. We have to trust that we don't need to control life, but instead we get to be supported by it. And this is one of the most difficult things for us as humans in this time, who've been programmed and conditioned to distrust life and to hold tight and to control. And trusting the process is something that has been in my field for a very long time. When my sister was dying knowingly, and she said to me repeatedly, Jewel, you have to trust the process. I am being taught right now to trust the process. I'm dying. I truly believe that surrender is the sacred bridge between life and myself in it. Surrender is the bridge for you as you show up in the world and see yourself and experience yourself in the world, and how you dance with the world, how you dance with life, how you dance with divinity. And this is directly connected to your inner desires, because your desires come from your heart. They're pulsating from your heart. And if there is interference between the receiving of what it is that you want, you're blocking, you're closing your heart without even knowing it. And what's required to open the heart truly is surrender. So, we're going to deep dive and explore the essence of surrender here in this episode, not just as an idea, not just as a concept, because none of these heart keys are simply concepts. These are visceral, embodied keys that open the portal. And in particular, surrender is a portal to presence and to power and to deep receiving. It's the pathway to your connection with divine presence. And each time you surrender, you're saying yes to life and presencing yourself to the miracle that life is. And when the divine reveals itself in the heartbeat, in the breath, in the quiet, in the stillness, is when you touch into these moments of surrender. And I have to tell you, life has given me plenty of opportunities to choose surrender, just like it has you. This week, I have been given so much opportunity to choose surrender, of course, because I am engaging and interacting with this heart key. And as soon as the intention is set to engage with a heart key, it begins to expand, it begins to come alive inside of your system. And so this week, I've watched myself lean into pain. I had an extraordinary, unexpected toothache. And I was given an opportunity to surrender and lean in. And I was catching myself trying to control it, trying to resist it, needing to understand, why is this happening? And as soon as I surrendered and instead let life show me, actually the pain subsided. I have been leaning into my manifester design in human design, and it is so aligned to my cycles. Manifestors go through many, many rest cycles in between creative cycles, preparing them to act on the creative urges that come. This has always been the case for me. I have always known that inside of the rest cycles is the magic. Human beings require rest. And surrendering to rest has never been easy for anyone, given the conditioning that we have and these narratives of I should do this, I should be more productive, I should follow through, I should finish this project, I should. And meanwhile, as a result of being in a rest cycle this week, as I have been, I found myself saying, I should record this podcast episode. I've been wanting to record it, and I didn't. Instead, I tuned into the heart key of surrender, allowed myself to surrender into the rest, and I have felt and experienced such a fluid motion of natural rhythm inside of me that I feel and I know is building into my next creation. This morning, I was given a really beautiful message. I heard the words, stop trying to fit your puzzle piece into the mainstream puzzle. And I realized that here I had been trying to fit my signature codes into the mainstream puzzle rather than creating and owning and acknowledging that my puzzle pieces are part of my own masterpiece and that I'm creating my own masterpiece. And if you think about surrender and trust, they're like sisters. Because if you fully surrender and embody that, you have to be in full trust of the universe's guidance. You have to be in full trust that the universe has got your back. You have to be in full trust that the way that your gifts are meant to come into the world are very unique to you, and they won't necessarily match what the world tells you. So there is a surrender here to the rhythm of you in your rest cycles, in when you hear your body asking you to slow down, to not planning everything out with your thinking mind, because that's very limiting. Because beyond the thinking mind, beyond the mental plane, exists the unseen magic. And when you come to trust in the unseen, you're stepping into a new level of surrender in allowing yourself to take a step forward without knowing what you're going to find. The biggest challenge with true surrender is the fear of losing something. I always had this underlying fear of losing what I'd gained, what I'd built. And the more I guarded what I had, the less I could actually feel it and be present with it. Watched life pass by while I raced ahead and held on to these achievements to escape discomfort. And that kept me from feeling the miracle of the moment. I'd hold on, I'd control, I'd contract until one day I realized that that wasn't courage. That was my greatest resistance, was not surrendering to what I couldn't yet touch, see, feel, taste, smell, hear. And this all translated to not being present, right? Chasing the next future thing that's going to be the holy grail for me. And I was shown consequences of not being present so that I could feel the distinction. So, in other words, something would happen to wake me up and say, get conscious, get present. And this is how life dances with you to invite you into surrendering into the moment. And what I discovered was that I had shame around mistakes and choices that I'd made, around not being present. What I recognized was that none of it was a detour. It was all this alchemy in action, the proving, the fearing, the chasing, the perfectionism was there to transmute my shame. And it truly cracked me open so that I could see that every choice I'd made was literally in service of returning me, surrendering to my heart and embracing the path and coming to understand that you're never off path. Every detour you take, every choice you make that pulls you out of being present is a gift because it shows you what it's like not to be present. When you truly can embrace your life this way, bring self-forgiveness into your experience, see your life trajectory as every step of the way being raw material to bring you back to heart, back into the space of quiet surrender, there's no shame there. And the trapped energy of that releases. There have been so many moments of letting go. And I remember this moment in particular of letting go of judging myself for the path that I've taken. And it was a deep moment of surrender where I became softer and I began to let myself be carried on the river of life for the first time and really found the clarity to lead myself and others from my authentic rhythm, not from trying to get it right, not from trying to keep up, which was incongruent with my required rest cycles. And this is why thousands of miles that I've traveled and millions of heartbeats later, I not only dissolve my own resistance, but I support others to dissolve their resistance, to dissolve their burnout, and really rediscover this internal architecture and reclaiming the brilliance that is in us. And this heart key of surrender is truly a key that opens us into presencing ourselves with this diamond within. And so, what is it to surrender to life? It's remembering to be here now and noticing when you're not, and noticing that you might be tethered to a thought about the past and some hurt or regret, or tethered to the future and fear of the unknown, and scheming what you can do to avoid it. What can you do to avoid coming face to face with the unknown that feels scary to the system, when ironically, you don't even know what you're trying to avoid because it's not even known yet. So I realize that that's a big ask when you've spent a lifetime trying to control the current. I know this for myself. And surrender is to let the current of the river take you. If you haven't listened to, I think it was episode 8, possibly in season 2, I did an episode called What COVID Gave Me. And that was a huge discovery around letting the current of the river take me. And when you can come into this awareness of truly surrendering to the river that flows inside of your internal landscape, there is such a return home and such an opportunity for peace here for you. Because when you allow the current of the river to take you, it literally reverses the inertia. It reverses the direction, and it allows you to give yourself grace as you course correct and embrace that life brought you something to fight against the river and swim upstream so that you could surrender to letting the river take you. So surrender truly means laying down the shame about perceived wrong choices, about a perceived wrong path. And in the absence of shame, there's this trust that life is always going to hold you. Always, always. Here's an invitation right here and now to be in surrender. I want to invite you, if you feel so inclined, to close your eyes and to take a deep breath in all the way into your belly and allow it to naturally move into an exhale that is longer than the inhale. And just allow your body to settle wherever you are and feeling the river of your blood, letting the river take you in surrender to its current, laying down the judgment, letting yourself feel peace settle into your body about your life, yourself. This is your divine home. You're made of water, and settling into the current as the river streams through and gives life. And ask yourself, what if wherever I go, there I am, without being afraid to lose it? What would you do if you weren't afraid to lose something? What if I truly surrender to life and slow down, revel in the micro moments, breathe deeply and surrender and be here now? And take a deep breath to anchor this in and understand that each and every time you give yourself opportunity to tune in to the frequency of letting go, of surrender, of invoking peace, of releasing control and attachment. You're loosening the grip. You're loosening your grip on the moment, the grip on people, on outcomes, and you're slowing down and being here now rather than escaping into the past or the future. And you can trust your path through surrender, no longer resisting what is, finding peace with your life. I really had to trust the process. In the 10 years of anticipatory grief, knowing that my sister was going to die with a fatal illness. And I'll tell you, the layers of surrender that were being asked of me were beyond. And I truly had to let myself feel and allow the emotional current and the waters of my consciousness to move through me and allow myself to let the river take me because I couldn't fix it. I could not fix it. And I eventually learned to let life hold me rather than constantly trying to hold it together. And believe me, I have been trying to hold it together for an entire lifetime. And it wasn't an overnight shift from distrusting life to fully trusting life. It happened incrementally through my willingness to surrender and surrender again and surrender again. And life kept giving me opportunities to surrender. And then I started opening and opening some more and receiving some more. Just like the rose opens to the sun and receives the warmth and the nectar of the moment, and it blooms in its full beauty and abundance. And there's no abundance without surrender. There just isn't. And if we're holding ourselves in contraction, nothing can get through and we can't receive. Surrender opens the cellular gateways to receive. It clears the space for life to enter. And true receiving is surrender in motion. So let the river of life take you. In these times that we live in this paradigm, in this heart-led leadership space that you're in, whether it's within yourself, within your family unit, with your colleagues, with your community, with the movement that you're leading, whatever you are finding yourself in a leadership space of, it's through this inner surrender, not force and not pressure, that you are truly leading powerfully because you're leading in a way that's rooted in your own true nature, like the rose. You can go to nature and through your relationship to the natural world, you're going to find that Mother Earth has so much to teach. The leaves don't fight the fall, the trees don't mourn their leaves, the seeds don't rush the spring, the earth doesn't resist the frost. Everything knows how to let go. Everything knows how to let go in nature. Everything knows how to compost and how to trust in the unseen and the unknown. And when we surrender to life cycles, even endings, we make space for what's next and then trust in the sacred compost that's transforming whatever we've released. Nature shows us how to do this. She shows us that surrender isn't a finality, it's transition. We're constantly in transition, but we fight it. And I actually offer a ritual for you to experience this composting, this releasing, this surrender inside the grounding path bundle that is, I'll put the link in the show notes, but so you can really root into your internal stability when everything outside feels uncertain, and you can surrender into your internal rooted power, into the power of the unseen, into your inner knowing that you are held. You're held by gravity. You're held by the divine. You are held in this space. You can feel safe in the in between holding on and letting go. So, this heart key of surrender holds massive transformational potential for you to let go, to trust the process, to rest into what life is wanting to give you, which translates into expanding in your relationships and in your business and in your leadership and in your life across the board. And when you lead in partnership with life, that frequency is more powerful than any controlled thinking, logical plan that you could ever force, any future outcome that you could ever chase. And it's the frequency that magnetizes and harmonizes and amplifies everything you're here to create. So there is a lot more to say about surrender because, as I said, these heart keys are living, breathing entities that inform you for infinity and beyond. They are literally always expanding your field. And when you focus on a heart key, it will show itself as your dance partner in life. And so I really want to encourage you to open to surrender, open to this heart key. And if today's episode has stirred something in you, if you're in a moment of letting go or redefining your path or wanting to lean into your true gifts and surrender to letting them lead instead of insisting that they fit into the mainstream puzzle, I invite you to return to the earth's wisdom within you through the grounding path resources. I invite you to rest in the stillness. I invite you to trust in the timing. I invite you to trust the process, even when it makes no sense, even when the ground falls out beneath you, even when the mystery feels too vast, because it's in the free fall that divinity is there to hold you, to catch you, to support you. And you become the vessel for grace to enter. And I also invite you to deepen your journey with the heart keys in this way. I have been creating a heart keys activations card deck for a couple of years. They are coming to life. And these visuals of these heart keys are highly coded with the heart frequencies from which they came. Each and every heart key came through a time of challenge and hold high frequency. What I have done is created a free Telegram group where I deepen, I riff, I share further wisdom heart drops on each of the heart keys. And I share the actual card that you'll be able to see. And you'll be able to, because our minds think in pictures, your human will be able to connect to the heart key and the potency of the visual, which accompanies this transmission. So the heart key of surrender is now in the Telegram channel. You'll find the link in the show notes below. They're coded frequency maps, really, that are designed to activate the key within your body, not just your mind. And The visual is designed to activate another sense. Right here, right now, if you've been listening, your sense of hearing has been activated. And when you see the frequency while you hear it, you'll feel it more fully. You'll receive it more deeply, and your body will remember. So I'm going to leave you with this. Remember that heart keys are not a concept. They are not a tool to learn and add to your toolbox. They are a living, breathing entity that when you ground into your body, you become the heart key. You walk and talk in a state of surrender. Stuff doesn't bother you. You're not triggered when you're in surrender. So these heart keys aren't just information. Until you ground these into your body, they will be just information. And this path that we walk isn't about collecting ideas, keys, formulas. It's about living frequencies that work in collaboration with your day-to-day life. So thank you for tuning in to you. And I look forward to the next episode. Bye for now.